そうだろう未だ日々戦争中絶対なんてありえない事態 Alright そうだろう未来からの通知音正解なんて忘れてただけ確かなものが裏切ったって気づいたものを失ったって信じていたい守っていたい誰かがいるさあ僕ら何度だって手を取ろう世界のピンチにあの日に結んだこの絆時を声握る君が何度諦めようとすぐに駆けつけよう決めた記憶と思いが呼んでいる
Gridman is a story of a girl's inner turmoil, the lengths she goes to in order to maintain her disassociation from the world so she can live in her escapist reality that perfectly suits anything she could ever want. All of this is in vain, because unwillingly she will be woken up by a giant man colored red, white, and blue. Dynazenon is a tale of the past, and how it ties to your present. How the past holds meaning, sometimes unbeknownst to us, and how the present is a place for us to give our own meaning. The characters of this tale will only realize this with the help of a fake kaiju painted in red, black, and yellow. Both these shows have a stellar story to tell. Their distinction lies in the very foundation that they both stand on. Gridman has this meta-commentary. It speaks of disassociation and the anxiety that reality brings. It shows the dangers of escapism and the twisted embodiment of an unhealthy relationship between someone who is in need and someone who is willing to manipulate, abuse the prior in order to get some sort of validation or a reward. Someone vulnerable being used by someone purely evil. This and how a selfless hero, as if destined by faith, comes to the damsel and will stop at nothing to wake her up to reality. Will stop at nothing to save her from boredom. On the other hand, Dynazenon has no meta-narrative. There is no god that controls the universe, at least currently, and there is no mystical destiny. It focuses on a group of characters with difficult pasts and the things that they regret. Characters whose growth was, in a way, stunted by their choices or by how fickle fate was. They don't know how to move past what happened to them. Trauma, regret, choices that could have been made. These things weigh our characters down and leave them as hollow fragments, filled with despair. They would be brought to move past their regrets by the fake kaiju Dynazenon. Gridman, the character, was a man on a mission. Akane Shinjo was an integral part of that mission. Gridman hardly cared for the kaiju, since to him they were only the effect, not the cause of the problem. He sought the root of it all, searched for a way to save her. He knew what he had to do, and how he had to do it. There's this competency, even in the face of peril, that he has. Gridman is a textbook hero. One could even say the hero of Akane's dreams. He is a near-perfect vassal of righteousness and a perfect example of heroism as described in modern philosophy. If you would indulge, someone who has moral greatness, someone who has ability and or prowess, someone who is willing to take action in the face of opposition and triumph in at least a spiritual, if not a physical form. Gridman is as good as Alexis Carib is evil, and in the end, such as this tale goes, good triumphs over evil. Moving over to Gauma. Gauma is a reckless and arrogant, flawed human being. He is as incapable as he is selfish. Unlike Gridman, he does not know what his glorious purpose is. He does know that he's been revived 5,000 years later and was given Dynazenon. There is no reason to why Gauma was chosen. This could be an example of how there is no destiny, of how there is no purpose in what we do, but rather everything is just a string of coincidences, and we all feed to our egos that there is this special reason for us. This is no more apparent than Gauma in the first few episodes of the show. You can see him try to read between the lines, see why was he given Dynazenon. Keen to argue with the likes of Knight and Minami, but still shows his care and selfless nature when the people he cares about is in trouble. This could be to make amends. Maybe it's because he feels bad for what he did in the past, betraying his fellow eugenicists. Or this could really just be his new nature. Maybe that is what Dynazenon is trying to tell us, that there is no destiny lying between our present and our future. Even if that's the case, even if there is no bigger meaning to what we do, Gauma still left a big impact on the main cast. He helped them move past themselves. He awoke them to the present and how to live in it. Kaiju are born from the emotion of people. They're unnatural beings that live off the feelings of people. And these monsters will terrorize and destroy without an ulterior motive, because to them, this is their nature. In Gridman, you could see how Hibiki and Gridman would time after time triumph against these creatures, destroy them, and in the context of the show and its meta-narrative, these kaiju are the embodiment of the vile emotions we harbor towards ourselves and towards those around us. These kaiju manifest that feeling of negativity and thus can only destroy.
なぜ怪獣である俺に命を与えた。
君はもう怪獣じゃないよ。
なぜだ。
怪獣は人の気持ちを読んだりしないから。君は私を探してたでしょ。怪獣はね、人に都合を合わせたりしないよ。いるだけで人の日常を奪ってくれる。それが怪獣。私は人間みたいな怪獣は好きじゃない。ほらその目。人間みたいな目してる。
お前の目は
見ないでよ。どこでも好きなとこ行きなよ。やっぱり君は失敗作だよ。
The antagonist in Gridman is a stark contrast to his good, a perfectly evil, perfectly malicious, and incredibly vile, manipulative villain in black, Alexis Carib. In the bigger picture, one could argue Alexis was the true antagonist. His purpose was to be an enabler, a means to an end for Akane, someone who would benefit or much prefer if our true protagonist was caught in this loop of self-hatred and escapism, because that's where he feeds off. That's where he gets his power, this vile emotion of self-hatred we have. Someone who would benefit greatly if she never woke up from this dream. A perfectly made villain that has no care for anyone else but himself. In Dynazenon, these kaiju represent the regrets, the things in our pasts and the grudges we refuse to let go. This is no more apparent than with our antagonists, the kaiju eugenicists. Gauma's old team, who were once comrades in arms, are now hunting him down. using the very means they used back 5,000 years ago. This humanizes the standard evil bad guy because these eugenicists have a reason to be angry at our protagonist. They have a reason to be mad at Gauma because they were all killed by him 5,000 or so years ago.
どうして裏切ったんですか。この国は俺たちを怪獣使いを消そうとしたんですよ。利用するだけしておいて、そんなに国が大切ですか。あの人が教えてくれた約束と愛、そして
Gauma's betrayal leaves these eugenicists angry, frustrated. Even if they were given the light that the other protagonist could give them, the light of moving past yourself, they legitimately cannot, because it is hardwired in them that Gauma betrayed them. Gauma is evil. He chose the princess over his comrades, and thus they will choose kaiju over him. These scars they have are too fresh, too close to them. That's why they can't let go. And that's why they're great surrogates for the feeling of being caught in the tangle of a past or a memory which we can't let go all willy-nilly, because we feel as if we're responsible for that memory, even if it's come to pass. Gridman shows us that accepting yourself is the first step to being a better individual. That your current state may not always be the best. And that's alright. It also tells us that the world will never always go our way. But that's the beauty of it. The absurdity of life is where one can draw the most meaning. Meticulously making a perfect world, maintaining it, and living in it is an unhealthy, imperfect, and hollow experience. This is no more apparent than in Akane Shinjo. During the middle of the series, up until its final episodes, you can see her discontent with what she made. You can see her hate this world that she lives in because everything goes her way. And that is a very empty sensation. Struggles in life is what makes it life. It's what makes it interesting, and it's what makes it have meaning. The show, in a very Evangelion way, tells us, sure, the world is a terrifying place. Sure, we won't always make everyone happy. And sure, we won't always be the masters of our destiny. But only in the real world can anyone truly be happy. Dynazenon tells us the past is unchanging. We can't be the masters of our pasts. However, we can always be the masters of our future. Searching for some deeper meaning locked behind a memory is blunting the lines of reality and fantasy. This is unhealthy, and this will only lead to self-destruction and frustration. Maybe the what-ifs that came to pass were just that. Came to pass, never meant. And that might leave us feeling insecure, unfulfilled, longing for some closure we're owed to. But I don't think we need to have a special signature to save a soul, because, in my honest opinion, I think these scarred souls we have, these scarred souls shine like stars. The final say I have in this mishmash of tokusatsu and animation is, well, I think Gauma said it best. there are three things in this world that must be taken seriously. First, love. Loving yourself, loving those around you, and loving this incoherent journey we call life. In all of its ups and downs, and in all of its unknown bewilderment. This is real. This is unpredictable. And sure, this is one tough journey. But with love, that journey can be much more tolerable. Second, promises. We have to make sure to keep our promises, regardless of to whom, regardless of to why, and regardless of the gravity of these promises. We have to keep our covenants with other people because if we don't uphold it, what's the point of upholding anything in our lives if we don't keep the smallest of promises? And third, we must take seriously our